Okay, I'm going to show you how I install the pickups in a semi-hollow, or in this case fully hollow guitar. Fully hollow makes it a little easier. I'll be able to put in most of the components here in through the bridge pickup hole. Put your fingers right down in there. In the semi-hollow guitars I've had, you have to go put everything in through the F-hole. Makes it a little bit more challenging. I'm actually going to put the components in through here, but I'll show you the technique I use as if this were a semi-hollow and this was blocked, for actually getting the pots and the switches to pop up into the holes where you want them to come up. First thing we're going to do is we're going to take a piece of paper and sketch out a template. I'm going to take a pencil and just do a kind of a tracing of where the actual holes and everything are, have it on this piece of paper, and then build up the wiring harness for the pots and caps and so on, such that I know when I put everything in there it'll fit well. Okay, I'm going to trace out the F-hole and the pickup holes. This one actually has the pointers on it, so I'm going to just use those to anchor the paper. Get a big pencil helps. Just kind of sketch out the shape of the F-hole here. I like to sketch out this F-hole just so that when I'm working on this, I recognize what's the top and what's the back side. When you're putting all the pots and everything in, sometimes it's easy to get confused as to whether you're working off the top or the bottom. So that's why I do that. Okay, there we go. Okay, so now I've mounted the paper template onto the cardboard, drilled some holes. Again, the holes don't have to be perfect, just get them in the rough area, because we're going to build the harness with a little bit of slack in there, which helps when you're putting the actual pickups and such in the guitar. It's just much easier if you have a little bit of slack, a little bit extra space. Okay, now we're going to mount the components, mount them in from the back side. So these are vintage volume audio taper pots. So we're going to put those in the volume locations. Try not to mix these up with the tone pots. Okay, so there's the volumes, there's the tones. Pickup selector. That's a bigger one. Wow. Oh, gotta take the nut off. Leave that nut for later. And then I have an output jack here somewhere. Okay. And we're going to turn these such that the wires have like a short distance between the pots, and also such that no wires are going to be exposed through the F-hole. All right. We'll worry about the orientation of that one a little bit later. Same thing with this output jack. We'll figure out the best way to turn those, probably like that, so the lugs are back this direction. Okay, this is how I'm going to choose to wire up this guitar. This is, I believe, the so-called modern wiring, not the 50s wiring. And signal comes out of the pickup, goes into the 22 nanofarad or 0.022 microfarad cap, same thing. into a 500k ohm pot to ground. So that helps pull the high frequencies right to ground and prevents them from going out. Volume pot strapped across the output with the wiper arm, letting you select from, say, 0 ohms, which would be silent, to a 500k ohm load for full volume. That goes into the pickup selector switch, 3-way. These two, so middle position and neck alone. Mirror image here on the other side for the bridge pickup, otherwise the same circuitry. And the difference between this modern wiring and 50s wiring is that in the 50s wiring, the tone stack, or tone circuitry actually gets connected to the output of the volume wiper. And that's why when you are adjusting the volume with a 50s connection, the impedance seen by the pickup changes in terms of how it sees the tone cap. So by connecting the tone cap directly across the output of the pickup, independent of the position of the volume pot, you get a consistent AC path here for the high frequencies that doesn't change based on where you have the volume set. Okay, and everything then goes to the output jack. Okay, got it wired up now. So down here, this is the volume pot for the bridge pickup, tone pot. We got the capacitor making the jump from the cap to the volume pot, and then that signal wire comes around. Got it grounded here to the case, grounded here, grounded there. All these things come together in a point ground right here, which is preferable from a noise perspective. Got braided shielded wire running as close as possible to all the interconnects to keep the shielding intact as best we can. A very small amount of unshielded wires exposed. And all right, we're gonna put this in the guitar. Next step. Before I put this in, it's probably worth looking again at the original Gibson wiring. So all of these signals coming up here to these pickup selector switch are completely unshielded. So there's probably a good couple inches of wire there that are not shielded. And I believe that's what was contributing so much to the hum. Okay, here comes the slightly trickier part, getting all these things in here. So one of the harder parts is to make sure that these lock washers don't keep falling off. I haven't developed a good strategy for that yet, so you'll probably see me drop those a few times. But first things first, we want to try and get this output jack into its hole. So we just take this piece of solid core wire and run it through here until it pops up. Find it. Okay, and then we just put that right through the jack. That helps in case the washer does fall off. And I like to just give it a little loop around the jack itself. The idea here is that we want to put it on such that you can pull on this and it won't fall off, but when you finally do get it in the hole, if you pull hard enough, it will let go. Okay, so slide that back on there. You don't want to scratch up your guitar, so you want to be careful here. Hopefully this is coming up on the camera. Oops.
Okay.
Oh.
Did you hear back from Connor?
No. Okay. Now you just put the nut. The washer's already on there, so just put the nut on here. And just finger tighten it for now. And then pull that out, just like that. All right, now for the pots, I use this aquarium air line. You can buy it at Home Depot. And this fits really well over the end of the pot, like that. So same idea here. We're gonna put this through and then attach it to the right pot and then pull the pot up into the proper hole. Now, let's see here, figuring out which pot is which. All right. Actually, this guitar is small enough. I can probably do this with my fingers. But you get the idea. Normally you run this down through the hole and attach it to the head of the pot and then just pull it right through and it would pop right up. But this one's small enough, I'm going to use my fingers, which is a heck of a lot easier. But normally if there's a bigger distance between the holes and the F-hole, this line works really well. The sharp-eyed viewer would have noticed I almost forgot to install the pickups. I'm putting in these Lawler P90, 50s wind P90s in place of the stock pickups. I didn't mind the stock pickups, but I know I love these Lawlers. So we're going to put those in as well. We have to solder those on before we can put everything away.